Hey everybody, this morning, this is not Candid Talk, this is not any of this. This is me sharing because I'm on my way to work. I was listening to Erica Campbell, Ericism this morning. And she done stirred up something, so I wanted to come over here and share. She's talking about telling the truth, not lying, and just tell people the truth. If you don't want to give them your number, don't give them your number. And oh my goodness, she took me back when I was really young. I was still living at home with my parents, and this guy asked me out on a date. So we supposed to be going to the movies and get a bite to eat. And so he's supposed to be picking me up about 6:30. And he says, I'm on my way, about 6 o'clock. He says, I'm on my way, I'm over there. So 6:30, he was not there. And that was a rule that all my friends would do. He says, always get dressed. Have your things out, but get dressed when they drive up in the driveway. So if they don't show up, you won't have to worry about getting dressed. So I didn't get dressed, and I didn't get dressed. So 6:30 showed up, and he was not there. And I said, okay. So about 7 o'clock, I said, let me just go ahead and get dressed, since he, stated that the movies started at 7:30. Well, here was 7 o'clock and he was not there. So I decided to call him. And I said, where are you? His name was, what was his name? I think it was Charles. I said, where are you? He says, oh, I'm on my way. My sister, took my car to the store and she should be back in about 2 minutes. I said, okay, here it was now 7:30. He hasn't showed up. So I called back and I said, okay, you said you were on your way. He never showed up at 7:30. So I said, okay, I'm all dressed, looking out the window, waiting on the person to come pick me up. He never showed up. So here it was 8:30. I decided not to call him back. And 8:30, and then 9 o'clock showed up, and I said, oh, I just started taking my clothes off and just getting comfortable at home, because at this point I wasn't leaving the house at 9 o'clock to go out on a date when I should have been leaving at 6:30 that evening. Well, he never showed up. He never called. He never apologized, anything. So here it is, 10 to 12 years later. My dad said, someone came over looking for you. And I was like, who is it? He said his name was like Charles somebody. He was in this type of car and blah, 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 blah. And I said, I don't remember who he is. See, because back in the day when he didn't show up, I didn't get bitter. I didn't get upset. I didn't get any of that. I just had amnesia. He no longer was in existence in my life. No remembrance, nothing. He was no longer in the remembrance. I just completely put him outside of my mind. Well, 12 years later, here he drives up in the car in our driveway. He gets out the car. My mom and I was in the car, and my dad was standing in the yard, right, y'all? He gets out, and he had a friend that got out the car with him. I politely got out the passenger seat, opened the car door, and I turned around and I looked at him. He says, hi. And I said, I need you to get back in that car, and I need you to drive out of this driveway and remember it ever again. Do not ever come back over to this house ever again. So you guys, 10 to 12 years later, he never called to apologize. He never rescheduled the date, nothing. He never had enough respect for me to even apologize for what he did or going on a date or anything. But 10 to 12 years later, he decides to show back up. So to me, him showing back up, he realized where I lived. He was still driving the same car 10 to 12 years prior before. And to me, he didn't have enough respect for me as a person, as a lady, to say, I apologize, let's reschedule. Nothing. 10, 12 years later, he drives up in the driveway thinking everything is okay. No, it's not okay, sweetie. And how about I'm out to help you, keep you as an amnesia type of person. Don't ever come back into this house or this driveway ever again. Lose this address like you lost it 10 years prior. And I had to just nip that in the bud, because I feel like if you disrespected me 10 years prior and you did not even get out the car to apologize, you said, hey, as if everything was okay. Everything was okay for me because, but far as you, he never even apologized, never even acknowledged. Now, I know that he had to acknowledge the fact that we had a date because he remembered the address. My mother's phone number was still the same. He could have called. He never called. 10 to 12 years later, you show up. What were we going to do? Go on a date? Unannounced? I think not. That disrespect, that level of disrespect was heightened to the max. And I could not accept that friendship ever, because that was disrespect. You could have just said, I do apologize, we're not going to go on a date. I could not, nope, never. And I don't know if anybody who does that, like, hey, I'm not that type of person. After you have disrespected me to a hyphen that I got ready, you asked me out on a date. I did not pursue you. And I did not pursue him at all. He pursued me, asked me out on a date, never showed up until 10 to 12 years later. Now, how about those apples? And that was, I don't know how I supposed to accept that. I accepted it, to me, the best way I could, respecting myself, to dismiss him out of the yard and never showed up. My parents were looking at me like, what in the world? I never told them what he did, why I dismissed him. My dad just kind of looked at me as if, what is wrong with this chick? Why is she so mean? No, I needed to put him in check. Like, goodbye, see ya, don't ever come back over here. But you know what? This is all because of Ericaism. Should I stir up something? Maybe this is my time to just release that. But you know what, ladies? Don't let anybody disrespect you. We have qualities to be respected as ladies, as women. Don't let no one disrespect you, especially when they have made a promise to you and they don't let nobody disrespect you like that. That's disrespectful. Well, it was disrespectful to me. It may not be disrespectful to anybody else, but to me it was hyphened. But anyway, you guys, that was my my venting for this morning. So you guys have a good day. It is Thursday. Bye, you guys.